Hey, it's Followtonians, episode 197. Eric here in Overland Park, Kansas, Ped in Old Swan, Liverpool. Who knows when we record anymore? It's just whenever we feel like it, so I guess we felt like it, huh, Ped?
It's random. It's as random as you like.
Well, mostly it's just because we got a tweet off of a listener asking us when the next podcast was going to come out. And so, you know, thanks, Michael Greenwall. We
It,
appreciate it.
it's just basically like if someone doesn't tell us to do it, we probably won't do it. So you know, we better do it.
Yeah, that's Greenall EFC, GreenAllEFC. You can thank him on Twitter because if it wasn't for him asking for us to do it, we probably wouldn't.
Is this what we've come to now? Is this where we are? It's like, well,
It's Follow Tonians on demand. You can listen to it any time, but apparently you can also just demand a new episode whenever you like.
to say I want it and then it's you get it basically, and fair play. If
Yep,
that's
have it your way, you
yeah,
know.
exactly.
And that's fine because Everton sure had it their way against Man United.
Nice segue, Eric Carl. Nice segue.
Did you like that? I'm
It-
almost professional. It's almost professional.
well,
Not quite though.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I'm trying to keep obviously my amateur status very so
It's still intact
it's still intact. We're still rocking and rolling on the old amateur status.
on the old no pay for ped mutton front. Nice, fantastic. Good to
Okay.
know. Good to know. Um, you'll see it in the comments on the show if you're listening. You can look at the subject of this episode, and we seem to like the counterattack ped, and for some reason I remember talking about that quite a bit last year.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's a strange one because, and I think we've spoke about this on numerous times. Probably spoke about this a lot of time this season as well. It
Yep.
does that. It does suit us quite a lot. It suits our players, and it's where we got some of our better results last season against some of the top sides. It's where Martinez tends to tactically beat the top sides with playing on the counter attack. Bringing them on and having a go against them doesn't always work because, of course, you're relying on the opposition to have a go at you, and you've got to work very hard as well because it's not just a case of
Parking the bus.
yeah,
Parking
yeah,
the bus is not necessarily an easy thing to do.
it's not, it's not an easy thing to do at times, and it's about shutting down all the space and working together, and everyone working really hard to make sure things don't happen. So it's not an easy thing to do. It takes a lot of discipline to play that kind of way, and also you've got to take your chances because you're not going to have too many chances. So when you get chances, you've got to take them. So it's not an easy thing. So yeah, it does suit us at times, and without sort of just sort of without sort of just saying everything in one go about this game, it really does help the way we play at times, and we do have the players to play the system. Now, of course, you can't play that way against everyone because not everyone's going to come onto you the way better teams try and do. So exactly the opposite has happened to us plenty of times, but
Sure.
it's as Hannibal says, it's great to see a plan come together.
It is. It is very good to see what you set out to do come to fruition,
Hmm.
and the result went our way very very early with just a very nice counterattack. Get the ball forward. Try and get Lukaku involved. Unlucky bounce that it drops off to James McCarthy, but James does really well to push through. He could have been continental and gone down. as he was going through the box, but he stays on his feet and puts it past De Gea under the leg, and it's 1-0 Everton in the 4th minute.
Yeah, and I think I think I've mentioned this before on the show. I really think this is a part of his game that he can really really develop, and we should be seeing more of him playing in this way. I've likened him to you know a, a lot of really good midfielders. He's got a little bit about Roy Keane. His goal yesterday was very Gary Speed-esque in the way he broke forward, and I think we
Yep.
spoke. We don't have enough goals from midfield. We don't have enough players breaking past the centre forwards, and that was what it was really nice to see. It was really nice to see a centre forward. Um, Centre midfielder going past the centre forwards. It really does make a difference when you do that. So, as I say, I'd like to see this more from him because he's got that in his locker. He's energetic. He can run all day. So why can't he run forward all day as well as run back? You know what I mean? It's you've got
Yeah,
to let him off the chain a little bit, and really glad to see that. It looks like it's starting to happen a little bit more.
yeah. I mean, one counter to that is very possibly the reason why it hasn't happened as much is because Gareth Barry has not been the Gareth Barry this year that he was last year.
No, he hasn't.
But in
But
this match, he was shades of his former self. He
I,
was solid.
yeah, I mean, I
Didn't
don't.
give up the ball too easily in unfortunate positions.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of factors behind it this season. There's been injuries. McCarthy's missed a large chunk of the season as well. There's been a lot of factors involved in this, and
That's
obviously,
mostly just because he didn't want to play for Ireland, but
well, that's what they'd like to have you think. Um, but there's a lot of factors involved, and Barry has played a lot of football this season, a lot more than he should have played, and I think he would agree that he's played a lot more than he should have played. So it's interesting now. Obviously, we've played just week Saturday to Saturday because there's been no Europa League football, and I think that has made a difference, a massive difference, really, to the results. Having the same team every week, it's made a difference to everyone. It's made a difference to, the Tim Howard. It's made a difference to the back four because it's the same back four every week. The midfield now is consistent. You've seen a lot more consistent performance out of Ross Barkley. It's happening all over the pitch. The fullbacks look a lot more settled. We just look a lot more settled in the way we are, and it's playing because we're playing week in and week out. There's not that many injuries about. It's a key players in the starting 11. He's not having to change too many things, which was a key part of last season, was keeping the same team week in and week out and only tinkering with the wingers and things like that. And it's made a massive difference. And what you can take from that is we overdid it
yeah,
this season. We've whether it be because of injuries or whether it just be at times he's changed the team for changing the team's sake,
or we were never fit to begin with.
or we were never fit to begin with. Yeah, we've tinkered too much at times, and at other times we haven't taken out players like Barry for a rest or players like Baines for a rest maybe at times when there's good enough replacements for them. And that's something I suppose the manager's got to look into and think, well, if I haven't got the replacements I want for them, then I need to go and get replacements I want for them. Maybe next season, you look at it and think, well, maybe he thinks now Besic is ready to go in and play some role in midfield instead of Barry, or Garbett, if he's still at the club, can go in and play left back, or Oviedo, if he's fit, can go. And that's what we've just haven't had enough of this season. We haven't had enough players being changed when they need to be changed, and then at other times far too many changes when players don't need changing. Changing
Right.
four for every game. I mean, you go back in the season, from like Thursday to Sunday, we were changing the team by 3-4 players every single game, And that can't be good for the side. That really can't be good for the side. You know, we all know we're not stupid. We all know we never really settled this season. We never really settled into a pattern. Players never really settled in. Now, a lot of that was down to injuries. You know, you remember the first part of the season when, you know, Alcaraz was playing one week, then Distan was playing one week, and then, you know, Jags was out and Stones was out, and again, it's no coincidence that we've got the back four settled. Howard's back into some kind of form, and we're all settled because it's a week on game now. At the same time,
let's talk about the defense real quick, because we've gone since the Newcastle match. We've conceded one against QPR, and then a penalty against Swansea, and that's it.
Well,
that's pretty good run of form.
That doesn't shock me. That doesn't shock me because your centre backs. It's about a partnership. It's about a partnership. We've said this all season. It's about partnerships all over the pitch. You know, we've gone on for years about Baines and Pienaar. You build partnerships on the pitch. I think one of the reasons why we defensively look a lot better is now we've got a partnership on the right side in Lennon and Coleman. You know, that's another partnership that's growing.
Lennon's got to stay right at this point. He's got to. We've got to put the money up for him. And hopefully that was pre-negotiated at a certain rate around $6 million, because
I'm sure it was. Yeah,
he's definitely at least worth that amount to what he's done for the squad since he's gotten in line. Coleman has looked a completely different player with Lennon in front of him. He's looking like the Baines Pienaar combination that we had on the left, and we just need to find somebody on that left again.
Yeah, I mean, but before I go too much,
Osman did a good job though.
Well, I did think Osman would probably play because of the way we set up when we play this kind of system, and I did think we play this kind of system. But going back to the defence, you know, you've got a centre-half partnership there, which, you know, is the best at the club and really should have played when there was every opportunity to play. I still can't understand why he never played Stones against Kiev in Kiev. I really don't understand that, because Alcaraz, okay, he was okay against Kiev in the first leg, and then he had a half-decent game against Newcastle. Everyone said he was brilliant against Newcastle, but Newcastle were rubbish. Really rubbish. And we knew we'd be going to Kiev a little bit backs to the wall. Okay, we're winning 2-1. You know, and everyone knew that it was going to be tough, but we all felt confident that we could get that away goal. So if we could get that away goal and, you know, maybe take a take a 1-1 or whatever, or try and even if it was 3-2.
Yeah. And not 5-2.
Yeah, and he went in there with Alcaraz, and, you know, Alcaraz was clearly the worst player on the pitch by a long shot, and it just absolutely destroyed us. And you just think if you'd gone in there with Stones, and we defended like we've been defending in the last few games, we would have got something. We would have got something out of this game without a shadow of a doubt. We would have got something, with no problem. And that's really still really bugs me that we did set up with him, because he's, for me, you know, Alcaraz is just a very poor player, and
right.
I just think, as you just said, we've conceded 2 in the last 6. And you just think if we had gone to Alcaraz, gone without Alcaraz to Kiev, we could have just got through that game, and built on the back of that. And unfortunately, it hasn't quite happened. But you know, everyone in this team is been brilliant the last 6 games pretty much, and it starts at the back and it works its way through into the rest of the team.
Yep, definitely. Really fun to watch Aaron Lennon run around, though. Just bring it back there. he just makes things happen.
Yeah, he's a lot of people ask the question before he signed. He's been at Spurs. If they don't want him, why do we want him? Those kind of things. If he's not good
Sure,
enough, if he's not good enough for Spurs, then why is he good enough for us? But to be
because
fair,
we have a need in the position that he plays that they don't have a need.
well, yeah, and to be fair, when Roberto Martinez generally buys a player or brings a player in, he does generally have an idea how he wants them to play. When he brought in Barry and when he brought in McCarthy, they were to set up with Ross
Hmm.
Barkley. He had an idea of those three players playing together. He generally has ideas, and obviously his idea was for him to play wide right, but come in inside, I'll open that space up for Seamus Coleman to start getting back forward. And also something you don't always see when you watch players of other clubs is how
Yep.
hard they work off the
Yep.
ball. I mean, this is something I talk about all the time. Is you don't always don't always watch a game on TV and get the full picture of the game unless you're really there. You can only follow where the camera goes. You don't see what's happening off the ball. And
Sure, absolutely.
this is something that we've been noticing a lot about Aaron Lennon, is how hard he works off the ball.
Yep.
So you see him now. You see how much he comes back, he defends, he helps out, and then gives you the out ball as well. He gives you that out ball all the time, and I can't speak highly enough of him. Yes, at times his final ball lets him down, but he
Yeah, I mean,
scores.
there was a moment where he had the ball going forward and he got kind of stumbled up a little bit in the middle of the park and
Yeah, his
right.
outballs, his final ball at times is not what you want it to be. Sometimes you want it to be better, but at the same time, you do think, well, if he was a better player, would he be coming to Everton? And to be honest, it's up to us to work on that side of his game. But what he's doing for us at the moment, it's brilliant. You can't ask any more than what he's doing at the moment. And he obviously wants to be at the club. He wants
Yep.
to he wants to get better at the club. He wants to be an Everton player. It suits him. Um, just suits him
Yep.
down to the
He
ground.
seems like he's having fun, that's for sure. Three
Yeah.
corner kicks in a row and third time's lucky.
Yeah, I think I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. Well, when we played Southampton, I think I mentioned the run that John Stones had made, and I pointed out that he made a run in that game for the corner, and it's something that we haven't been used to seeing a player attacking a corner. It's not something that we see all the time at Everton.
Right.
It's something that has been fundamentally missing from our game. So it was nice in that game to see him do that, and effectively he made the same run in this game. He made the run and attacked the ball,
Yep.
and this time it come off for him perfectly. He attacks it, he gets there first, and he scores, and it's so well deserved as well because he's been outstanding player for Everton. In the 2 seasons, really, he's been at the club. At times, he's overplayed it, but what I've noticed definitely in the last 6 weeks, last 6 games, is how now he knows when to go long and when he knows to come out and play with the ball, and he's learned that so quickly, and that's so reassuring to watch. That he is starting to get that distinction, and that'll make him such a better player. So I'm really, really, really glad he's understood that, and by getting that goal as well, I mean that's that really capped off his game for him, and hopefully we'll see more of that, because it's something I've spoken about so many times on this show, is how I was brought up watching Everton centre backs scoring goals, from
Yeah.
from from set pieces. It's something that we daily miss in the side. So really happy we got a goal from that point. And you only have to look over to Ferguson on the bench, Duncan Ferguson, celebrating it massively. That I
Yeah,
love goals like
definitely.
that. I love goals like that. I love seeing players smash headers into the back
Yeah.
of the net. And it capped off well. And it was late in the first half, but and early on in the game. But it capped off, the whole performance for Stones, and it gave us that nice little cushion, just before half time. Because let's be
Yeah.
honest, Man United started the game pretty well. They controlled the ball, but we worked so hard to stop them getting through. And obviously McCarthy bursting through for the first goal, and it was nice to just get that little bit of a cushion just before the second half to take into half time, because you can play as well as you want sometimes, or you can defend as well as you want, but as the chance for Fellaini showed, it only takes one slip, and the opposition have got chances on goal, especially when you're playing
Yep.
good opposition.
Luckily for us, he decided to put that up near where you sit, Ped, and not anywhere near the goal. He does pick up a yellow card in the first half. A not very nice late challenge on Ross Barkley. Sees him go into the book after a previous not so very nice challenge on McCarthy, and then he's subbed off at halftime, and it's the last we see of Fellaini at Goodison. What kind of reception did he get? Because there was some talk from some people on Twitter that they were upset by how he left and all this, and I'm thinking he paid for Lukaku, plus he turned in a transfer request so that it was cheaper, and there were just so many things that happened leading up until when he left that showed that he was at Everton and believed in it up until the day he moved on. So I really have no ill will towards Fellaini at all.
No, I don't have any myself, and I think the reception was fine. I think he got
Good.
I think it was fine. There was no sort of
Jeering or anything like
no,
that?
I don't think there was anything really. There might have been the odd boo or anything, but I don't think anyone really cares. I mean, he's been at Manchester United for coming up. This is coming
Almost
up to
2 years now.
yeah.
Right?
So I don't think anyone really had a problem with him. And as you say, the money we got for him was fantastic. And as you said, what can you say? He did pay for, or certainly helped pay for for Lukaku, and freed that money up probably to maybe bring other players in at the time, like James McCarthy. So no problem whatsoever, and I don't see there being any problem there at all.
All right, quickly let's go through the second half, because there wasn't a whole lot of note other than Morales comes on in the 69th minute for Osman, and then just a few minutes later benefits from a very generous interpretation of not in the play but in the offside position.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think he brought Morales on for this very reason. He brought Morales on to
help with counterattacking.
Give us the outball. Yeah, I mean, at the time, United had one decent chance early in the second half with Rooney trying to turn on Howard, but Howard, stayed big and made the save. And we just needed an outball, to be honest. I didn't think we were ever really under that much pressure, but when I say we needed an outball, it was obviously a tactical decision to just give us that, to just frighten them a little bit and make them think about not just piling on loads of pressure. It's interesting, the argument for this offside. I mean, you look at it and I know a lot of people don't like this new interpretation of offside. I mean, it's it rubs a lot of people up the wrong way. What is offside? What isn't offside?
Right.
Now, to me, I don't really have any problem with this version of the offside rule. I don't see it as too much of a problem. And I tell you why. I mean, I tell you the two different scenarios that I would look at it for this goal. Was for me, the ball gets played over the top, and Lukaku doesn't really make too much of an effort to go for it, but Morales actually runs from his own half
Yeah.
and gets to the ball. So, he makes up all that ground. Now, that to me is fine. I'll tell you what wouldn't have been fine if he'd squared it to Lukaku and Lukaku tapped it in. That's the offside rule I don't like, where a player's offside, then the game goes into this next phase, and the player who's offside doesn't even go back onside, but they're back onside. Now, if he'd done that, to me, that's wrong. That's wrong. But for what Morales done, I think that's fine. The defenders all stopped, and as I say, Morales was in his own half. So, what? I don't have any problem with that. It was an absolutely fantastic run from Morales, and he finished it off brilliantly. So fair play to Morales. I've no problem with that goal whatsoever. It just capped off a really, really good performance, a really, really good counter-attacking performance. And we may have lost the possession, but
yeah, 34 to 66. Who cares?
But the point about that is we set out to lose the possession. We didn't set out to dominate the possession. We set out to lose it. So the game plan was to allow Manchester United a lot of the ball. And that was it, and that was fine. And we did the same last year against Manchester United and against Arsenal. The idea was to win the game playing on the counter-attack, and we played it perfectly, and it was a perfect plan, well executed.
3-0, 3 points, clean sheet. We're up to 44. Top half of the table, Ped.
Ooh.
Thumbs up. Slap hands. Yay.
Big time now. But
Yes.
This is what we said, though, didn't we? This is what we said. 6 weeks ago? This is what we said. It was all about finishing in the top half of the table. That was the thing to go for. That was the little thing. That was the, if you're going to do something with the rest of the season, it was about finishing in the top half of the table. And that was the thing to go for. And now we've got to make sure we stay in the top half of the table.
Yep.
And I know that's not going to be a consolation for a lot of people. It hasn't been a good season. Not even going to try and say it's been a good season. But I'd rather we did have some kind of challenge left in us, and that challenge be finishing
as high as we can.
Finish as high. Well, not finishing as high.
Let's do 8th. We can't get 7th anymore. We're mathematically eliminated from finishing 7th. But we can get 8th. 6 points back. 4 matches.
Let's go for. Let's just
8.
go. Let's just go for finishing as high as we can, and that's got to be the motivation for the rest of the season.
As high as we can is 8th.
There you go.
So let's finish 8th.
At the moment. But,
all right.
There's a lot of points still out there, and a lot of winnable games, including this one on Saturday.
Yep. Take a break. We'll be right back. You ready for the shortest segment in the history of the Faltonians?
Yeah. Oh, nearly the shortest.
This will be the shortest. There we go. All right, we're back on Faltonians, brought to you by Apsa Services Limited. Ped, shortest segment in Faltonians history right here. We're playing Aston Villa in the 35th match of the year. It means jack squat to us. It means quite a bit to them, kind of, maybe, sort of, not really, because they have this match called the FA Cup Final coming up. They're close to being in the relegation zone, but they're not. Do we care?
I actually don't agree with what you just said. I think this game means a lot to Aston Villa.
Okay.
I think it means a hell of a lot to Aston Villa because they are still knocking around that bottom part of the table, and they will be looking at this game and thinking, right, this game doesn't mean anything to Everton.
But they could be this year's Wigan and win the FA Cup and get relegated at the same time.
Why would they want to be this season's Wigan? That is not a badge of honour.
Okay.
Aston Villa have got 32 points at the moment. They are, at the moment, they are only 2 points above Sunderland, and Sunderland have got a game in hand. So let's think about it like that. They're only a point above Hull, who won at the weekend. They're only a point above Leicester, who have got a game in hand. Hull have also got a game in hand. Don't forget that. Hull and Leicester have got both got games in hand. I did forget
that. Thank you for reminding me.
So if they win their games, they both go. Leicester have won four in a row now, isn't it? Sunderland are going to need a kick up the backside soon if they want to get out of it. So don't be thinking Villa or anywhere near out of this game. They've got us at home. They've got West Ham at home. They've got Southampton away, and they've got Burnley. So they've got 3 home games, so that's going to be big for them. But what they're going to be looking at is thinking, right, we want to get this. They want to get this sorted now. We need to get this sorted. We need 2 wins. That's what they'll be thinking of. 2 wins. So they'll be thinking, right, 2 wins. We don't want it to go to those 2 last games of the season. So they'll be thinking the next 2 games we've got to win. So there's this game, and then there's the David Cameron derby next week. That's what they'll be thinking, right? They'll be thinking we need to win this game. So the pressure's going to be on them, and that's why I think we've got to. I think
we set up for counter-attack part 2.
I think that this is going to help us because the pressure's off us, and we're playing like the pressure's off us, and that's actually helping us play better. And we go there, and I think if we get the first goal, I think we've got a great chance.
4-0.
I think we get the first goal, then we sit back, hopefully counter-attack and beat them. And obviously, they are playing well.
Passes to Lukaku 3 times, and he gets a hat-trick.
Well, they're playing all right. They're scoring goals. You see them last week. They were very unlucky at Manchester City. Come back from 2-0 down to 2-2, but then they get beat 3-2. But that doesn't mean anything. It might have been a great fight back, but it doesn't mean anything. They still lost. Being in the FA Cup final doesn't mean anything. They're still in the FA Cup final, but it doesn't really matter.
At least it's them and not somebody else.
Well, that's it. Their last home game, they drew 3-3 with QPR. QPR went for them that night. The Aston Villa are not good at the back. Yes, they've got goals in them. That's been clear. That's something that Tim Sherwood has instilled in them over the last couple of months that he's been there. But at the back, they're still pretty poor. They have got goals in them, obviously with Benteke scoring goals now. So they have got that in them. But and also this is the battle for Tom Cleverley's soul. This game, winner takes Tom Cleverley. It's the El Cleverco. This is what it's coming down to. This is the big game to win Tom Cleverley's soul. So you've got to remember that as well. That doesn't mean we go and lose it on purpose.
Okay.
No, but yeah, I think we can go there and get 3 points. And as you say, we get 3 points. Takes us up to the magical
mark. And mathematically clear.
Well, yeah. I'm not even worried too much about that, but we're mathematically. I think we're mathematically safe. I think when we beat Newcastle, never mind anything else. But no, yeah, you 40. If we win and Stoke lose, then we go above Stoke, and we've caught the one above us. Then, and then you're right. We're looking at Swansea then and thinking, right, let's go and catch Swansea. It's the way to look at it, isn't it?
Yep. If we win and Swansea lose and Stoke lose, we're in 9th and 3 points back of Swansea.
And also, by the time we play this game, Hull will have played their game in hand against Liverpool and maybe above Villa as well. So,
maybe we could beat them and put them into the relegation zone. That would be awesome.
I don't really care where we put them as long as we do beat them. That's the main thing.
Okay. Sounds good. Anything else?
Well, just obviously, we did our last show obviously over a week ago, and obviously in that meantime, Sir Philip Carter obviously passed away at the club. So obviously our condolences to the club, to every family and friends and club, and just some background for people who didn't know Sir Philip Carter was. He was obviously Everton's chairman during the 80s. He was a man who was pressured to sack Howard Kendall just before the dawn of our greatest era, and he kept his finger off the button, basically kept faith in Howard Kendall, and Howard Kendall sees us through our greatest era. He was also a man who helped create the Premier League as well. Believe it or not, he's one. We were at that point regarded as one of the big 5 clubs, and he helped create the Premier League. So so you can thank them all for the Premier League as well. And all those players and wealthy people who've made money can all thank Sir Philip Carter for that. And obviously he was life presence as well, and great dealings with the club till his sad death. So if anyone didn't know that, that's sort of like the background on him. So he's been part and parcel of the club for over 30 years. So obviously our condolences for his sad passing.
Yep. Definitely. Thanks for the background on that, Ped. All right, everybody. Appreciate you listening to this very random and short and jam-packed episode of the Follow-Tonians. We'll talk to you again soon, I'm sure. Come on, you Blues, let's go.
How long was that?
Overall, probably about 40 minutes.
That's all right.
I gotta go cook dinner. Bye, everybody on YouTube.